So Anita, what are we doing today?
We're going on, I guess, an adventure, you could call it, on social distancing in New Orleans.
So this is definitely going to be an interesting day for us because we're going to see how many people are out and about. So here we go. Let me in. Thanks, girl. Hey everybody, welcome to Büdgét. I'm Mars.
And I'm Neeter.
And we are
two broke bitches on a budget.
Yes, ma'am. We started this podcast about 2 years ago, actually, with just an idea. We took a road trip up to New York.
Yep.
And all the way back down to Louisiana. We loved it so much. We wanted to share our adventures with everybody. And we thought, well, why not have a podcast?
And talk about all of our vacations and how we managed to travel on a budget for people that need to be on a budget.
And also the stories that we had were kind of crazy too.
Yeah.
So we definitely wanted to share our stories from the road.
Our adventures, yeah. Me personally, at the time I was 51. It was for my 51st birthday. And I had never really been anywhere outside of Louisiana because I never thought I could travel because I never had buku money. I was always broke.
Right.
But here we were, both of us broke, and we managed to travel through 14 states in 9 days and really had a great time.
Right.
So we want to let everybody else know how they could do the same thing.
Right now, as we're releasing this podcast, we do realize that travel might be a little more restrictive these days due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we are going to touch on subjects about COVID-19. This first episode that we are doing is actually about Louisiana reopening, specifically New Orleans.
Yeah.
So we went out this past Monday and just kind of traveled around all of the neighborhoods. We went to the French Quarter. We went up and down Magazine Street in St. Charles. We didn't get to go to Uptown. We did go to Mid-City. But we just kind of traveled all around to see who's out and about, if people are paying attention to the guidelines issued by the state in the city. We're seeing if people are doing like takeout or curbside pickup.
Or outdoor seating.
Right, outdoor seating.
Indoor seating and how it's spaced out in some restaurants.
And what did we find downtown?
Well, we were lucky because we're like some of the first people to go downtown. Like there was nobody really out.
Right.
I mean, did we see maybe 20 people?
Possibly.
Maybe 20 in the whole French Quarter when we were out there. Everything was still clean. Like people had too much to clean their bathrooms, their tables, their chairs. So we were like pretty lucky that we caught it now at the beginning of phase 1.
Caught COVID now?
No, caught the cleanliness of the city. Like I actually was able to smell the magnolias on the trees in front of St. Louis Cathedral.
Right.
Where before all you ever smell is mule poop and urine and vomit. Outside with signs. Oh, there's some people.
Oh, yeah, they're spaced out.
They're spaced out. Like they have them across the whole, completely across from each other in the restaurant. New Orleans Daiquiri Company looks like it's open, but nobody's in there. Landry Seafood.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone in there though. Oh, we have an artist out front of St. Louis Cathedral.
Maybe we should go talk to him.
Right. What is that?
That's a cross for Jesus.
No, I'm talking about the guy on the side. It was eerie because it was so empty. Like I've never seen the French Quarter completely empty of people and vehicles and noise. But at the same time, it was serene.
Yeah, I thought there would be more people out since it was phase 1.
Right.
Now, we did go on a Monday, so people could be at work, and they did reopen Friday.
Right.
So we weren't there on the weekend. Of course, I'm a little more cautious, so I wouldn't want to be there on the weekend anyway. But we still went on Monday, and still there, like you were saying, there was only about maybe 20, 30 people altogether that we saw.
And there were a lot of businesses that were still boarded up.
Yeah.
Even Cafe Du Monde wasn't open. They're expected to open tomorrow.
There were a
Friday?
couple. Yeah, that's right.
Friday.
So Friday, May 22nd is when Cafe Du Monde is going to open up. They said that they were going to have some tables out, but I'm sure they're going to be spacing those
Right.
out. And of course, they're going to have like the little pickup window. But there were other businesses you could see inside. They didn't have a lot of people in them, and they were spaced out as well.
Right.
The employees were wearing masks and gloves.
Yep.
That was one thing when we went to the gazebo
Mm-hmm.
and we were listening to the band. The band members were wearing masks.
Yep.
The wait staff, they were wearing masks.
Yep.
The only thing is not a lot of the people at the tables were wearing them. We were.
Right.
But
they weren't eating either.
Right.
They were just sitting there listening to the music. And they
Right.
did serve us like our food was in styrofoam plates with plastic utensils and plastic cups and straws. Like there wasn't any real silverware. And I guess maybe the restaurants are going to start doing that now so that
So
you
it's
don't
easy
have
to throw away.
Right. It's easier
Yeah.
to just throw it away. They don't have to worry about sanitizing. It's an extra precaution that they're taking to keep things clean.
I did want to talk about one thing because when we rolled up and you parked, right?
Oh, gosh.
When we rolled up and we parked at the French Market, I mean, you got really emotional. Should we go there?
I guess if we can find somewhere to park, maybe we can park up here and walk. They have look, the gazebo cafe is open and they have a little. Oh my God, I want to.
What's going on?
I just want to cry because the last time I came down here, it was so sad. Like there was no music. Like New Orleans felt dead. You want to park right here?
Yeah, just don't cry and crash.
No.
You're going to make me cry.
It's like New Orleans was so dead, and I just thought that it was never going to come back, and just hearing that music.
You need a tissue.
People just don't even understand. Like, I've been so alone in my house. And when that one time I ventured out to come down here, and it was like a ghost town. Like, literally, like you didn't hear or see anything that even resembled New Orleans. I felt like I was in a sci-fi movie. And you know how, like, everything is deserted? That's how it felt. And just hearing that music just now, it's like meeting an old friend again that you haven't seen in years, or finding out that a loved one that you thought was gone is not. They're back. I don't know. I just love this city so much.
Those were happy tears, and it's just all the emotion of the last couple of months just came boiling out when I heard that jazz music playing, and I broke down. Like, I was just very emotional just to know that I never thought I would hear that again.
Right.
I absolutely did not think that this was ever going to come to an end.
Now, when we were riding around, we were talking about renewal of the city. So I did want to play a little bit of an interview I had with friend and fellow filmmaker Tracy Norwood. Tracy, she's been a tour guide in New Orleans since 2015, and she also works at the historic New Orleans Collection. She's also a local actress, and I did want to bring up that she is holding a virtual charity reading for the Actors Fund on May 30th. You can find that event on Facebook under an Inspector Calls virtual charity reading. So make sure that you check that out. That should be a pretty cool event. And of course, we'll put the link in the show notes.
I see so many comparisons of COVID to the yellow fever epidemics that were so prevalent pretty much year after year after year up until about 1905, during the time of yellow fever, or not just the time of yellow fever, but anytime there was an outbreak happening in the city, pharmacists would put in the windows what are called show globes. And industry standard, at least in New Orleans, was, and I can really only speak to New Orleans, is that they would put red liquid in all of the globes. And the reason why they did that is because New Orleans is a port city, and we're still a port city. But in the 1700s and in the 1800s, when I wouldn't say New Orleans is in her heyday right now, the golden age of New Orleans, as I know it, was really in the 1800s. And so people are coming here from all over the world. We are a French-speaking city, and we spoke French until the 1930s, but not everybody in the world speaks French. So how are you going to know if you can't read the paper, or like the paper is going to take 3 months and you're already here? How do you know that? So the Pharmacy Museum would tell everybody, hey, there's a plague happening. You need to leave. And right now, the Pharmacy Museum has that. The minute lockdown happened, maybe even before, I know it as when it happened, they changed all of their liquid to red, which I thought was really fascinating because here you are a museum, but now you are a living museum. You're not just a snapshot in time of life in New Orleans in the past. Now you're being in the presence of what is really going on in our city. And that really struck a chord with me. New Orleans has so many nicknames, like the city that care forgot and the Big Easy. I call it the Big Sleazy. But one thing that is standing out in the 302 years of her time here as New Orleans is that she is a survivor. As an actor, I could move to Atlanta. As an actor, I could move to Los Angeles. I could move back to New York. And I don't want to do that. Because there's something so inherent in the DNA about this town that makes you want to stay here. As much as New Orleans gets beaten down, I mean, she's a metaphor for so many of us who are here. And as artists, we struggle every day. And I really see me in that river. And New Orleans was grown out of the river. She was chosen for that location because it shelters her from the elements, which we're not going to get into because this is not a Katrina show. Do your research and you'll know what I'm saying. But she came back from that. It's different. And there are definitely neighborhoods that I would say have not come back. Or if they have come back, they've come back in a different way. But if we stay in the heart of the quarter, and if we stay in the heart of, she's had epidemics, she's had massive deaths in a short span of time. Like, it's a fact, 1853 was the largest yellow fever outbreak in recorded history for the city. I've read several different statistics. Some books I read said 8,000. Some books I read were closer to 10,000. But it was in a 2-month span of time. So if you're going to go on the low bar of 8,000, or if you're going to go on the high bar of 10,000 in 2 months, and they didn't know what was causing it, that's really scary.
So again, that was my friend Tracy Norwood. She was talking about the survival of New Orleans. That's from another interview that I did with Tracy about her documentary that she's working on currently. She was originally doing the documentary on yellow fever, but she realized that conversations about COVID kept coming up. As soon as she has any updates on when she's going to be releasing that documentary, we'll of course let you guys know.
traveling now with the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way we think about traveling. There's still things that you can do. Like there's still parks that are open and places that you can go, like less crowded places. So you can still travel. Like a bunch of the places we saw when we went up north to New York, there were hardly any people there. Like when we went to Gettysburg, when we went to that the grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes.
But what I would say about those places, if you are really wanting to go somewhere, then I would make sure to visit their website first or give them a call to see if they're open. I would just say if you're out and about, just make sure that you're following guidelines. If you see a lot of people crowded around an area, I would just kind of avoid that one particular spot. That's what me and Anita did.
Right.
We went downtown. We didn't get out of the car until we felt like we found like a good spot. But even so, like there's barely anybody there.
Right.
I think now you have to be more aware of what you're touching.
Right. Be aware of your surroundings.
Right.
Take extra precautions.
Yeah. I mean, me and you, we did just that. We had our masks on.
Mm-hmm.
We made sure we social distance from other
people. With my feet. With my shoe, instead of with my hand.
We were very conscious of the surfaces that we were touching. Right. And I even had, oh God, what is it called? What the fuck? The squeezy bottle of
hand
shit.
Sanitizer.
Thank you. So I even
we sanitized our brains. We can't think anymore.
My hands are dry, but hey, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Right.
Let's talk about that lady that we saw in the French Quarter. She was a tarot card reader, but she used like archaic oracle style to do the reading. And she was behind a sneeze guard.
Right.
And what she was saying really stuck with me because she was concerned about our comfort level.
Right.
That's why she had the sneeze guard. She didn't have to have that.
No.
But she had it. She had her mask. She had her hand sanitizer. She asked us how we were. She was the only person in the quarter that was doing tarot readings.
Right. And she was very well prepared.
Right. And what was her name again? It was like Little Fay Sway.
Yeah, Little Fay Sway.
Very interesting lady. Very interesting character. I made Anita do a reading with her.
Right. She was pretty on point.
Just her attitude about it, like she's out there, that's her livelihood. Right. That's how she makes her money. So she also wants to make sure that the person in front of her is comfortable.
Right. If everybody else has that kind of consideration for everyone else, then this thing should start like going away. Just be courteous. Just be a good person. Be a good person. Regardless of what your beliefs are or who you voted for or who you think is trying to, cause you any kind of inconvenience, just be a good human and think of your other human counterpart.
Right.
Like, regardless if you know anybody, I don't know that person. I don't care if they get sick. Well, what if that person is the same person that's taking care of your grandma at the nursing home?
Right.
What if that same person happens to be an assistant teacher at the school that your child goes to? Mm-hmm. You don't know who you're coming in contact with. And there's only 6 degrees of separation between all of us.
Oh, yeah. According to Kevin Bacon, is that correct?
Right. So, just be a good person.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Absolutely.
We can all tolerate a little inconvenience if we want to stay on this earth a little while longer. We are riding slowly down Magazine.
Slowly
rolling. Checking out all of the businesses that are open. Business period.
There's not that many. There's not that many places open, it doesn't seem, but there was only like a coffee shop and then a restaurant that I saw that were doing just takeout. There was a table in the entryway, so it was blocking you from getting in, but they're doing orders right there. Right. So
it's a really soft reopening in New Orleans. It makes me sad but happy at the same time that people are actually not like flocking to the city so soon.
I really appreciate the caution.
Right, me too. Because it shows that we really care about not just
our own personal selves, but everybody else.
Right.
People that may want to travel here, people that actually live here. Like Magazine Street, it's 422 right now, and
it looks
it's
dead.
And usually the traffic is bumper to bumper down this street on a day, especially a beautiful day like today.
And I was just thinking, when all this started, like both me and you, we work in the film industry,
Right.
so we work long hours.
Very long hours.
So sometimes we're not able to like watch the news as much as we should be.
Right.
So when they were announcing, you know, stories of COVID-19 coming out, honestly, at first I didn't think it was like a hoax, but I didn't take it seriously at first.
I didn't either.
I was like, oh no, everybody's just in mass hysteria. It's going to be fine. But then I started hearing the stories of the people in the hospitals. And then, of course, my sister's a nurse. So she was telling me stories. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a big deal. I shouldn't be as foolish.
Yeah, but you were in the office.
That's true.
You work in casting.
Yeah.
I was on set. And we were taking, because I work in craft services, which we serve snacks and drinks all day, coffee, waters, and all day to the cast and crew and the background actors and stuff. Like, we're in charge of making sure they have food from the time they get to set until they leave. And the week of, I'd say March 11th-ish, I was working on set. And, you know, we were taking extra precautions, like having everything wiped down and, you know, wearing gloves and stuff. And that's when we got the breaking news just before we wrapped that the NBA had canceled the season. And when I heard that the NBA had canceled the season, I'm like, this must be really bad, because for the NBA to cancel the rest of their season, they're losing a lot of money. So it must be something serious going on. So then I kind of got a little panicky, not to the point that I was hysterical, but I was just like, there's something more going on here than the regular flu. Like, I was thinking, you know, like, oh, it's just the flu. It's like that bird flu or whatever. It's just going to be here and gone, and that's it. Then the next couple of days, I was working on another set. And we were taking even more precautions. Like, we couldn't even go on set without having gloves on our hands. And we were having to wipe everything down. Like, we were constantly, every time we went to the ice chest and we went to our carts, we were having to wipe everything down with Clorox wipes. And that was just like 2 days later, everything like progressed really fast on set about how the sanitary means we were using. And then at the end of that Friday, March 13th, production called a meeting and told us we were going on hiatus for 2 weeks until this cleared up. And then I was like, wow, you know, this must really be bad for them putting production on hold.
Right. And even before the shutdown, our office, we had to work from home.
Right.
And that was 2 weeks before the actual shutdown.
And so I come home and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, now I don't have work. So I was actually making plans to go and see my family, which lives 3 hours away from here in the middle of Louisiana in Valls Parish. And in the midst of me trying to wrap up loose ends here and pack up and everything, they come with the stay-at-home lockdown order. And the whole state shut down. And that was it. Like, I've been in this apartment since March 13th.
Yeah.
Me and my dog. And Zoom and Skype and Jitsi meetings and games and trivia things that we do online every now and then with my friends.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And, you know, all of that, it was fun for a minute.
Right.
But we're all so excited to just get out the damn house.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, just take precautions when you go out.
Right.
Be respectful of other people when you do.
Wear a mask. And if you're not going to wear masks or whatever, just stay away. You know, don't go in people's faces and, try to hold a conversation with them. Like, I know I get claustrophobic wearing that mask.
Right.
Very claustrophobic.
I feel like I can't breathe. It feels like somebody has their hand over my face.
Yeah.
I mean, I have this bad anxiety already. Like when I go to the dentist and they're working in my mouth, I have to take a Xanax and hope for the best, because when they lay me down and start working in my mouth, it's like I can't breathe. It feels like somebody's sitting on my chest. And that's how these masks make me feel.
So I'm wearing a mask just because I would rather be safe than sorry. Like it is uncomfortable with all the humidity wearing this thing, but again,
I'm sweating with this just around my neck.
Yeah. So I think Anita's going to go with the handkerchief around her mouth, right?
Yeah,
that feels better.
Yeah, I have a bandana. It's not as tight around my face. Especially at the bottom part. So when I breathe, the air goes down my neck instead of up into my eyes and in my glasses. So it gives me it's still very suffocating, but it's not as suffocating as these masks that you have that are just like, feels like a squid attached to your face, like,
Yeah, it does kind of feel like I have a face hugger on. It is true. Like I feel like these heat vents coming out from the mask into my eyeballs, and it's like drying out my eyes right now. No. And of course, me and Anita, we're filmmakers. We're not damn scientists.
No.
Since they don't know a lot, just be precautious.
Right.
Be respectful of your neighbor. Be respectful of the person that's, 6 feet or more away from you.
Wouldn't you rather be safe than sorry?
Right.
I mean, really, are you going to cut off your nose to spite your face just because you don't believe that there's such a thing as this illness? Like, I would rather wear this mask and protect myself than catch this virus and be all alone in a hospital. Like, it's not all about us.
Yeah.
The reason I could have very well have packed up and went home to see my mom and be with my kids and my grandkids, even after the governor announced the stay-at-home order. But you know what? I was here in New Orleans at the epicenter of Louisiana's epidemic here. And even though I was not symptomatic, I didn't know what I might be carrying on my person or in my car, because I have been on set with over 100 people. I have been out and about in the French Quarter filming movies and all over New Orleans for the last since the beginning of January.
And we went to Mardi Gras.
Yes.
We went to as many parades.
Yeah.
And even then, like, I didn't even hear about COVID. No. That's how much under a rock I am with my job.
Right.
I didn't even hear about it. And I'm sitting there, like, picking up beads out of the dirt next to horse poop.
Yeah, we were picking up beads off the ground, glasses, cups that they were throwing off the ground. I brought them home and washed them. Like, we were in the middle of everything. If anybody got exposed to COVID-19, it would have been you and I.
Yes.
Because we were in the middle of everything in Mardi Gras.
Right.
And then even after Mardi Gras with the film industry. And that's what I was worried about. Even if I didn't have the symptoms, what if I was being asymptomatic and went home and infected my parents, my mom, my stepdad, my grandkids, my kids. So I stayed home. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't go visit. As lonely as I was, I did not go visit any of my friends.
Yeah.
That were here in New Orleans.
But I saw you on Zoom and Jitsi and where else were we? Google Meet.
Yeah.
Google Hangouts. I don't know. There's so many. And I think that's going to be it for this episode, actually. Do we have any tips and advice?
Wash your hands.
Yes.
Wash your ass.
Bring your sanitizer.
Keep yourself clean.
Stay home if you are sick.
Yes. No sucking shots out of somebody's belly button.
Oh, gross. Ew. And you wouldn't want to do that anyway. All the lint. Nasty. Oh, yeah. If you have a favorite restaurant or a business, I would recommend checking out their website or just giving them a call and seeing what their policy is, if they're even open, if they're doing curbside pickup, if they're doing dine-in.
Some of them may have limited menus as well, because
one of my family members that owns a restaurant back in Avoyelles Parish, where I'm from, they said because COVID-19 prices of certain meats are going up, so they're having to take them off of their menu rather than raise the price. So some of your favorite dishes may not be available.
If you guys liked what you heard today, make sure that you subscribe to our podcast and share. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter, you can find us on Instagram and YouTube, but we haven't. Have we put up any videos yet?
No, I haven't put any videos on YouTube yet, but they're coming.
Yay! So if you want to stay engaged with this Travel on a Büdgét community, then definitely hit us up on social media. We would love to talk with you guys.